Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Games match preview. West Ham United against Brighton and Hove Albion. Charlie, your thoughts on the Seagulls, please?
I quite like them. I like Graham Potter a lot, actually. If you were to say to me who would be like a realistic choice for the next manager you'd actually quite like, I quite like Graham Potter. I think he has shown a lot of promise. I didn't know what he was going to be like coming into the league because I didn't know too much about him. I've heard these weird stories about like the performance stuff that he's done abroad, but I just like the way he makes them play football. I like the fact they can change up at times. Sometimes they play one style, sometimes they play another, and I think he sets up the team well. And in this case, we've somehow managed to find a team who are almost in as worse form as we are. In January, at least, they've been not very good. Just looking at their results from afar, it's not gone great. And so in a way, it's kind of the right time to face them, which is kind of a curse to say, but I've said it out loud now, so there we go.
They're a funny old team. I'm a bit like you. There's something about them I like, and I've been impressed by with Potter. Yet they're hovering just above the relegation zone, so it's almost like, can you be impressed if they're down there? I mean, it's like it would be like someone saying, "Well, I'm impressed by what Pellegrini and Moyes have done this season at West Ham." Well, you're not really, are you? Because look where they are in the league. So can Brighton be that far down? But they've got a way of playing that I like, and I've seen them play 3 at the back and switch to 4 at the back. Adam Moyes seems to have the most unique role I've seen in Premier League this season, in the sense that I've seen him play left midfield, centre midfield, attacking midfield, and right midfield, all in one game without anyone else changing position. He only seems to be the one that does it. But I think they're in danger of going down, I think they've got 1 or 2 good players, and they've got some solid players, and I think they've got some players that are not quite good enough for the Premier League a little bit. And the cons seem to be outweighing the pros at the moment, which, like you said, is good for West Ham. Do you think they'll stay up, though? They sit, 2-3 points above us, just outside the relegation zone?
Something like that, yeah.
2 points above us, yeah.
It's going to be very tight. They are definitely a prime candidate, and this is their bad patch. I mean, the fact that they've hit such a bad patch and yet are still above us maybe shows that the rest of the season they've shown enough to stay up, if that makes sense. It's going to be very tight. I think they will, just because the teams that are below us and are so abject and seem to have nothing about them this year, whereas, like you say, they do have a couple of players who are capable of dragging them out of bad situations. So I think they probably will, although it is going to go down to the wire. It will be very tight.
Yeah, I think they'll scrape it as well. I think they're going to finish no higher than 16th. I think they might have one of the 16th and 17th positions of what might be Brighton Hove Albion's position. I think it must be a bit disappointing to be a Brighton fan, because they started the season with a little bit of oomph about them, if you like. It was quite fresh, it was quite attacking. And there's a couple of players who I thought were ones to watch for Brighton this season who have somewhat disappointed me, but we'll get onto that in a second. Well, let's go to that now then. Any players that you admire or perhaps feel let down by at Brighton this season?
You brought it up last time we faced them, but I sort of perennially disappointed by Pascal Gross. I think he does show it at times. It's frustrating because when I watch them and he plays, sometimes he can pick something out that's really bloody good, and then other times he just looks completely lost, which is a shame because I really liked him before. You picked out Moy. Moy, I just think he's just really good. He just is. He does, like you say, he sort of plays here, there, and everywhere. He plays, I don't want to say a free role, but he can sort of just play everywhere and still be as effective. And the goal he scored against whoever their last team was an absolute banger, to be fair. I really like Mopai up front. He is, I don't know, he just sort of has that tangible sort of will to win sort of thing. When he battles for the ball, he's sort of smaller than a lot of people, and yet he will still fight them like they are the same size as him. I really like that aspect of him, and I think he's a decent enough finisher, someone we should have perhaps gone for, even though we were linked with him for about 8 years before he finally moved. And I can't remember his name. What was the name of you'll probably know, the youngster who was playing up front alongside him and Trossard, who I quite like as well. I think Trossard's quite direct. He's not incredible, but he's good.
I think you might be thinking of Steve Alzate, but he's been playing sort of right back a little bit.
It's not the right back. It was a forward. He was number 40 something. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Aidan Connolly.
That sounds it. Yeah, him. I really liked the look of him. I don't know if he was fully prepared, but the couple of games I saw him play earlier in the season, remember against Arsenal and against I can't remember who.
Spurs. He scored 2 against Spurs.
It was probably that game. He just looked up for it. He had that sort of thing you said about Garner, that fearlessness. I don't know if he was fully ready for it, but he looked like he was going to give it a damn good shot no matter what. And if he's playing at the weekend, I would suspect him to cause us some trouble because of that.
Yeah, the 2 players I like. You mentioned one of them, Neil Maupay. I think he's brilliant. I wish we signed him. I think he looks a threat. He's got everything about him. I think he's good in there. He's good on the floor. He can run in behind. He can hassle defenders and stuff. I think he's what I would class as an all-round striker. He's a bit like for the Hammers Chat people, the real Hammers Chat people, he's a bit like Danny Ings. He's got a bit of everything. He's got a bit of everything. He's a jack of all trades, master of none, but he's good at all trades as well. He's not just a pace merchant. He's not just good in there. He can do anything. He can mix it up a bit. Trossard's actually disappointed me this season. When I first saw him, was against us. He came up. He started against us. He had that goal, and then he had another goal disallowed or whatever. He just ran the show against us, and he's never really kicked on a bit there. Whenever I've watched him, I've seen him in and out of games and stuff, and he's clearly got the ability. It's just that I've been a bit disappointed. Obviously, Lewis Dunk's been brilliant for them consistently. But the one player I really like this season is Davy Proper. I think he's fantastic. I think if West Ham were to go in for him at any point, I would not be disappointed. And I do think he's got his sights set on higher than West Ham. I think he's probably looking at, I don't know, it's easy to say a top 6 club, but then the question is, well, what top 6 club? And it's difficult to give an answer to that as to where he would get in. But I do think he'd be looking at a European club and playing in European competition, thinking I can get in there. And then they've got young Bazuma. I think whenever he's played, he's impressed me as well. I think he's better than Chowdhury, and they're similar players of similar age and whatever. I do think Bazuma's better. But anyway, enough of praising Brighton. We're going to talk about West Ham. But before we do, the boats are open on Saturday. They're open from 12 till 7. Come and have a beer and a barbecue with us. I'm going. Charlie's going. Gonzo's going. We're all going. We're all going to this one. The boats are free. Even better. There's just been a lot of home games recently. So it's an expensive time for football fans. It's an expensive time for West Ham fans. Christmas was just past. January is a 5-week month. And all the home games. So we've made entry free. But you do need a ticket. So you can get your tickets in the link below, and we shall see you there on Saturday for being a burger. Anyway, team news. It's pretty much the same squad. It's the same squad as the last game, plus Antonio, perhaps, iffy. We'll find out from Moyes' press conference tomorrow. And then, of course, Souček, our new signing, is in there as well. Any other signing that West Ham may make in the transfer window, which ends tomorrow at 11 p.m, must be done and dusted before midday in order to be in contention for the matchday squad. So we're going to assume there's no new signings, obviously. But we're going to assume Antonio's fit, Charlie, for the sake of the preview. So we played 3 at the back against Liverpool. Would you stick with that, or would you like to see us go back to 4 at the back and have an extra man in the midfielder attack?
Yeah, I think we've got to change to 4 just because this is a must-win thing. We've got to go for it. So for me, we changed to a 4 at the back. We play some sort of 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, however you want to word it, and really try and put them to the sword and really go for it. Because I mean, I'm still quite depressed after the Liverpool game, but just watching us play 5 at the back, we're just so ineffective going forward. And I don't think that if we roll up with that against Brighton, that they will be that troubled, if I'm being honest.
And who would you like to see at the back for?
How do you pronounce the right back's name?
Ngakia.
Him, Diop, Ogbonna, Cresswell.
See, I would like to stick with 3 at the back or 5 at the back, however you want to look at it, because I think we looked good defensively against Liverpool. I thought we looked organised and quite sturdy. I do think, while I hate the sort of defensive first approach, it's just the way Moyes is going to play, and it's something we're going to have to accept. And I think that we need to win this game. And I think the way we're going to win is by keeping a clean sheet. And I know you're thinking, well, that's obvious, but what I'm trying to say is I don't have faith in us winning 2-1. I don't have faith in us winning 3-2. my only sort of optimism comes from a 1-0 victory, essentially, which is kind of giving away my score prediction a little bit, but I do think that's going to have to be the master plan on Saturday. It's baby steps. We're not confident enough, and our ability and speed or whatever at the minute is quite restricting, and I'm not confident that we'll score more than 1 goal on Saturday, so I'm going to stick with 3 at the back, and it's going to be the 3 that played against Liverpool. I don't think any of them did anything particularly wrong. I know Diop gave away the penalty, but I think he obviously felt he had to, because Origi was inside the 6-yarder. We'd pull the trigger at the goal. Your midfield then, I take it you're going to want to see a 4-4-2 or
some form of sort of 4-3-3 really, but we're having like the wide players actually getting close to
so like
Haller,
Liverpool.
basically. Yes, essentially, yes.
You've been inspired. You've been inspired last night.
Yeah, osmosis. You watch something enough. So my midfield would probably be, if 3 like that, it would be Rice, Souček. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Souček, according to the Slavia Prague English account.
Okay, Souček and Fornals.
That's exactly who I've gone for in my midfield 3, because I think Noble needs dropped. He's just not been on the ball recently. I think we need energy out there. This Souček guy, we don't know enough about him, but we know enough about Mark Noble to know that we're willing to twist, if that makes sense. You can't potentially have a guy that we consider to be worth 20 million euros, bring him in when we're 4th from bottom in the league, and it's a cup final kind of game thing, and keep him on the bench, because then it doesn't really justify bringing him in my opinion. My full wing backs is the same as against Liverpool, Nagaki and Masuaku, just through default. There's no other options. So that leaves your front 3. I think I know 2 of them, but would you like to complete it and reveal your 3rd?
It would be Haller, Snodgrass and Antonio.
Snodgrass in like a winger type.
Yeah, not because he is any good out wide, because he's not. But I just feel like in my head we have to go for them. We have to push them. And he, for all of his slow movement, and boy is that man slow, he will at least go for them. He will at least try. And it sort of by default becomes Lanzini. And that's a big no for me right now. So for me, that would be the sort of 3. And I don't even want to play Antonio, if I'm being honest. I don't want to risk him. He might be more effective coming off the bench, but we need to just go at them. And he's the one person who I trust, when he gets the ball, will progress it no matter what. So it's sort of almost by default becomes those 3 players. But yeah, I don't like having to put Snodgrass out there. But he can at least put the ball into the box,
well,
I guess.
I was about to say, I seen a scary stat earlier. From open play, Snodgrass has created 8 chances. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. 8 chances. It's pretty piss poor. What's that? 1 every 3 games.
Yeah.
It's not great for someone in what has predominantly been put in positions of trust in terms of attacking. I know defensively he's shackled a bit and stuff, but I expected a bit more than that. To put into context, Lanzini's created more in open play than Snodgrass, and we all think Lanzini's bang out of form, and I go along with that as well. My 2 up front is Haller and Antonio. I think we've got to put both of them up front. We've got to go for it. I know that you're saying you don't want to risk Antonio, but you've got to. We have to in this game. Otherwise, you're risking not winning. So I think the risk far outweighs the other one. Then you've got Anfield and Etihad up next, and the other way around. Etihad then Anfield. And I don't want to say it like this, but if Antonio's not fully fit, you look at resting him for one of those 2 games. Essentially, you pick your battle a little bit. But he must be able to fit. He has to play against Brighton. If he's only fit enough to play a half, he's got to play the first half. Just get him out, get him into the team, get going, and we have to throw the kitchen sink at Brighton, I think, a little bit here. A draw it's not enough. A draw is not enough. 100%, we need to come away from there with 3 points. I don't care how we do it. We could have 1 shot on target the whole game for all I care. But we need to get this win. Is this the biggest league game in years, in your opinion?
Yeah, sort of. It's the first time that I've been scared of relegation since Sam Allardyce was in charge. And this is the sort of game where if you don't win, you're as deep in the doo-doo as you can possibly be. I mean, a win against them not only puts them below us if they're only a couple of points ahead of us, like you say, but it also lifts us up massively, and we need to start getting wins. And again, like you mentioned, the next 2 games are next to impossible. So this is as crucial a game as you can get in the league. And that's why, Antonio has to play.
This is the first time I fear relegation since we actually went down. I've always been pretty chilled about it. Like, even Billich's first season in London Stadium, I never feared it. I didn't fear relegation. And even up until the Everton game this season, I was still quite content we'd pull away and get out of it eventually. But after picking up a point against Everton, that's when I thought, nah, now I'm fearing it here. It was just the mentality and the attitude of the Everton game that really drove it into me, if anything, because I just didn't feel there was a desire to push on and get the win, and that's what scared me more than anything. So this one's huge. If we don't win on Saturday, I really feel the drop, Charlie. I was having a look at the fixtures earlier because you get those funny old games, predict the scores for the rest of the season. I mean, it's obviously sheer impossible to predict what's going to happen in 5 games' time when you don't know form and injuries, etc. But I had a little flick through, and there's a lot of teams around the bottom still got to play each other, and then there's some teams like Newcastle and Palace play pretty much all of us that's below them, and you're thinking, well, they're going to have a big say in it. But then you start to get to like match day 36 and you see Liverpool come up against someone that's in around the bottom. You think, hang on a minute, Liverpool are going to have the title won by now. What's their mentality going to be like? And I'm starting to get into the mood now of almost like paranoia looking at fixtures. But I look at our ones, and I do believe it's in our hands. Brighton at home, Southampton at home, Watford at home, Villa at home, Norwich away, Newcastle away. These games we can pick up points plural from, and we're going to have to, and it's got to start on Saturday. Saying that, are you confident it'll start on Saturday?
Relative depends on how we set up, really. If we set up at 5 at the back, then no.
But hang on a minute. You can do that and still attack. You can play 5
No,
at the back.
I know we can, but we don't. Like, I don't disagree.
Okay,
we 100% can. We 100% can, but the problem... Go on.
Under Moyes, we've set up 4-4-2 and not attacked.
Yeah, but our best games on the Moyes have been when we've set up before the back, in my opinion.
Our best game with Moyes is when we played Bournemouth, who were bang out of form.
But what I'm trying to say is like, how do I word it? I don't trust the way Moyes sets up, especially with a team like Brighton, who are... They're going to have us on the back foot. When they attack, we will be on the back foot because they are faster than us. They are fast. They are just a quick team. And so naturally, we will have a lot of people back. Having Rice and Souček, and I don't know a lot about Souček, but from what I've read since we've signed him, he's more defensive-minded than anything else. That will mean everyone will naturally be deeper. And I don't trust us to have Haller in any sort of support around him if we're playing like that. Of course, you can attack and play 5 at the back. Look when Chelsea won the league with what's his face, Conte. They were playing 5 at the back then. Technically, they were attacking
Sheffield
like mad.
United have been doing it all season. Brighton have been doing it for a little bit.
Yeah, I just don't think that when we've set up like that, we've come anywhere close to being as effective attacking wise. So if we set up like that, I'll be a lot more concerned. But if you start before, I'll be a bit more confident. But there is something there. This is the best team to face right now, sort of thing. They are weak. They aren't looking very strong. That's the same thing I've just said in 2 different ways. But I think they're there to be got at. And if we can get at them, then why can't we go and win? Because, like you say, defensively against Liverpool, we were actually okay. So if, say, we went ahead in the first half, we could realistically shut up shop and probably keep them out. So I'm 50-50, but I'm relatively there, yeah.
I'm quite concerned about Moyes' stubbornness as well. We've seen it with Pellegrini. I think we're going to see it with Moyes. His post-match comments about Lanzini insinuates he's possibly going to start again, which isn't ideal. And also his right-back situation. I fully expect Zabaleta to start on Saturday, which I'll be disappointed with, because I thought Ngakia did well and he offers something going forward, which is something Zabaleta doesn't do. And to be clear, this 3 at the back thing, in case it actually happens, in case we do play 3 at the back and on Saturday I complain about the team and someone says, hang on, you wanted 3 at the back. I don't want 3 at the back with Zabaleta right wing back. That is an absolute must. If Zabaleta must play, then it's got to be 4 at the back. I do not want to see Zabaleta in that right wing back role. Don't mind him right back to an extent, I hate him, right wing back. But yeah, the way Wolves play, 3 at the back, they there's plenty of examples out there. I just feel more confident defensively with a back 3 when Moyes is in the dugout. Am I confident? I thought a little bit. They've had a bit of a rest because they were out the FA Cup, so they didn't play at the weekend. We've also had the midweek game as well, so we've had a lot of games since they've had like essentially 2 weeks since our last game. We've been playing game after game, but at the same time, I think that can do you harm. I'm not saying we've got momentum, but I think some of those players would have come off the pitch against Liverpool thinking we gave a good account of ourselves. And I've seen, Robert Snodgrass did a tweet, and it was something along the lines of much better than against Leicester kind of thing. And I thought that was an indication that maybe the players did come off thinking, you know what, we can't praise ourselves because we've just got beat. Let's not be stupid, but we can take a little bit of pride out of that performance, if you like. There's a little bit of something to go on, and if they do genuinely think like that, it can almost give them a little bit of a lift actually. And I feel some of the fans have come away from the game thinking, you know what, I'm a bit more optimistic for Brighton now because I saw organisation, I saw hard work, I saw a little bit of determination in there. And I think if you get all those things, you give yourself a damn good chance of winning. It then just comes down to taking your chances, and we created some against Liverpool, some, not much, no 1-on-1s or anything, but we created some chances. And we do the same against Brighton, but this game's massive. Win, and I'll be optimistic about us staying up. Don't win, and I'll be fearing the drop, Charlie. I'll be predicting us to go down, pretty much. It's that big a game. So, can I get your score prediction, please, Mr. Walsh?
Between 2-1 to them and 1-0 to us. I'll stay 1-0 to us because I think if we do score, we can shut them out. Like you say, I think defensively against Liverpool, we showed enough to where if we went like that against Brighton, I'd be fairly confident they won't score, especially given the form. So I'll stick with 1-0. I'll be positive for once. And I think, we're going to, I don't want to say smash and grab, but I will take it.
I'll take any kind of win. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win as well. The only thing I'll just throw out there is, if it's 0-0 or something, if we got a goal down, I think we almost have to have a plan B, which we flick immediately. Right, we go into plan B mode. Goal down. No one even needs to shout. Basically, all the players know. Right, this is the new plan now. We're gonna have to change it up a little bit. And also, if come the hour mark, it's 0-0 or 1-1 or whatever, we've got to start to go for it. We've got to turn up the tempo a little bit. Obviously, context is required here. It could be 0-0. We could be on the front foot with double the amount of shots that they've had and stuff. But given what I've seen so far, I'm not thinking that's going to happen. We've got to. A jetty has to be utilised if required, kind of thing here. We need to get attacking players on and go for the 3 points. I just hope we don't have as long as we don't lose this game, we'll be okay. Because you're going to run out of games eventually. We will run out of games. And it's just, bloody hell, it's a must-win, Charlie. Anyway, you guys at home, let us know what you think. What lineup you want to see on your score prediction. Put it in the comments below and any other thoughts you've got ahead of the game. Charlie, I shall see you on Saturday.
That you will.
And you lot at home can join us after Saturday when we do it. We'll put the review up, we'll put some fan cams up, and hopefully it'll be good plans, good times, perhaps. See you soon.